Hey, Nikki Brown here. No matter where you are and no matter what part of the world you are in, I hope that you are having a good day. Forgot my glasses again, but anyway, I wanted to talk about that is my seatbelt thing. I have my bags in the seat next to me, so it wants the seatbelt on because it thinks it's the person. So, wanted to talk about people with OCD or people who feel like everything has to be perfect, which is called perfectionism or a perfectionist, and people who constantly look for validation or recognition or praise, right? Usually, and of course this does not apply to everyone, but usually it means the person didn't get enough lap time. That's what Dr. Francis Cress Welsing called it, lap time. So even if both parents, let's say, were present in the home, but they were emotionally and mentally unavailable, like they didn't give enough hugs and kisses, they didn't let the child sit in their lap, they felt like holding the child too often was spoiling the child. This creates an emotional disconnect and a lack of self-worth, and a lack of feeling and a feeling that you're not enough, you're not good enough. Then some parents even deepen that feeling by making the child feel as if anything that they do is never good enough, constantly criticizing the child, never giving the child praise, never saying you did a good job, I'm proud of you, or any of those things. I used this example the other day when I was talking to someone, and I hope you can hear me and not the wind noise. But I said it's like that child who paints a picture or colors a page in a coloring book, and they color all outside the lines. And the parent still says, oh, that's great, you did a good job. In comparison to the child who attempts to do it perfectly and color all inside the lines. They even take a black crayon and trace outside and make sure that it's perfect. But they have one little mark that goes outside the line, and the parent says, oh, well, you colored outside the line right there. Again, not saying, oh, you did a good job or anything. So the child who was given praise for doing their best is satisfied with doing, what they consider their personal best, right? And they don't typically achieve to do any more. Whereas that person who was constantly criticized is always trying to do something perfect, either because they're attempting to get praise or they don't want anyone to say anything to them in terms of criticism. When it turns into OCD is because they don't have that parent around anymore to criticize them and say that they're not doing good enough or that it's not perfect. So they start to do it to themselves subconsciously, right? And they beat themselves up again because the parent is not around to beat them up and tell them they're not doing a good enough job. So it's like they're trying to fix it in a way, so whether it's good attention or not so good attention, at least it's getting some type of attention. So, if this person, let's say, is a perfectionist at work and the coworkers are not, the person who's that perfectionist, even though in their mind that's not what they're doing, they may not even be aware of what they're doing. But because they're trying to do it perfect so that no one says anything to them, or so that they get praise, because it's different for everybody. At one point I was a perfectionist. I just didn't want anything to say anything to me. So I wanted to do it right the first time, so you don't have to ask me to go back and do it again. That was my thought process, right? But for some people, they are actually looking for that validation. Like that student who, has to get straight A's. And if they don't get straight A's, they're crying. It's because one or both parents was not there for them emotionally in most cases. Again, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing called it lap time. This person did not get enough lap time from one of their parents or both of their parents. Because even if a parent is physically present, they could be emotionally and mentally absent or distant. Especially the parents who work all the time and they're not spending time with the children. And children need that balance of both the masculine and the feminine energy. So again, these things that we experience during childhood can turn into mental and emotional conditions as an adult, such as OCD. To a point where some people, because they're wanting this recognition or they're wanting people to do certain things for them, they can become manipulative. And so they learn as a child, in order for me to get what I want, or in order for me to get a certain amount of attention, or in order for people to like me, I have to manipulate them. And it's a form of control, again, even if they aren't aware that that's what they're doing. It's like they need to control people, again, to do what they want, to make them feel validated, or as if they have control, or as if they are liked. And it may be a false sense of security or a false sense of hope within them because, some people sustain this for their lifetime, but realistically, at some point, it usually falls apart. Or at some point, somebody may point it out to them. And then they get mad because their illusions have been distorted, because the reality that they've created around themselves or in their mind isn't really real in the actual in existence. But they've created this world, and it's like a bubble around themselves. Oh, I have to do this in order to get what I want. I have to be mean to people. I have to, be the mean girl or the mean or the fake nice guy in order to get what I want. And this cycle just continues to repeat itself. And again, some of the people around them aren't even aware that this is what they're doing. And again, this is the person who, if they don't get straight A's in school, they're going to cry because if it makes them feel like they're not good enough, or they're less than, they're not worthy, they're not deserving. They may have even gotten an A- or a B, but in their mind, that's not good enough because it's not going to get them the recognition or praise that they want. But if they're still around this toxic parent, they're still not going to get the praise and recognition that they want. Not from the parent. They may get it outside, but they're definitely not going to get it from the parent. So I just wanted to share that thought or those thoughts, and I hope that they were helpful. If you would like to talk about it, please leave me a comment. And as always, I love y'all. Later.